And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in this galaxy. It is I, John D. and
Tanika,
aka
Do
and Too Much Podcast, rescripting the culture one conversation at a time. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Anything planned for the week? Anything coming up?
No. You?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, look at that.
So there's this program that goes through the Y called Youth in Government. So it allows young kids to take on roles of running the state. So they vote for their governor, their lieutenant governor. They have legislators, lobbyists, all this stuff, right? And so they get to play out what it's like. And for like a week, they take over the Capitol while while our representatives are on break. They go in and they take over the Capitol. So I've been talking to Dallas because he likes history and politics and stuff, and talked to him about taking part in it. And we have a tour. They have like a mini conference this weekend. So we're going to go to that, and so you can get a feel for it. But I bring it up because I talk with my friends a lot about how we don't really tell our kids, we don't talk to them about the possibility of working in politics as a career path. Usually you're talking about teachers, engineers, doctors, nurses, whoever the case may be. But very seldom do we talk to our kids about doing local or state government. If we're not talking about the president, or we see certain certain Congress members that they're very popular online. Other than that, you don't really see representation. And it doesn't seem like it's something that anybody would want to be involved in. Well, the idea is that you let them go. They create their own laws, and they present them and have them find other supporting members to vote it in and all this other stuff. So they learn about the process. What I think is great about this is that I was in this program 30 years ago with my friend. Her mom put us in it. We had no idea what we were doing, but we had a great time. But, we only did it that 1 year, and it didn't really catch on that I could do this on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And there weren't as many kids that looked like us there. I remember there being a lot of girls and boys. I didn't feel like there was a really big difference in that way. But culturally, there was a really big difference as to who was there and who wasn't. So I'm excited to go see this mini conference this weekend with Dallas to kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And I'm excited that he's interested in it because, during these times of kind of watching everything that's going on, his interest in it makes me, I ask him odd stuff, all the time. I'm like, if you were to do this, what would be the issue of focus on the most? Or what do you feel like needs to be done here? I want him to think in those terms. And I think that going to this, number one, I want to see if it's changed as far as the makeup. But the other thing I want is to see kids, like there were some kids who were really like excited about it when I was there. And I was like, okay, I wonder if any of them are in anything now. But I'm definitely excited about maybe him exploring this area more because, we need to see people that look like us as representatives of us. And so if we make it where the kids can see what it really looks like and understand that they're capable of working in these spaces, we don't know what it's going to look like in 10, 20 years when they're in, maybe taking on these roles themselves. What is the world going to look like?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm sorry I had
No, that's because I was thinking when you said that a lot of us, the people who look like us, are not exposed to positions in politics like that.
Yeah.
I'm almost for certain that this increases his chances of being exposed to those jobs.
Yeah.
And I know that people can get in those positions without programs like that, but this makes it a lot easier to find interest and people that they can network with to get into those positions.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. Because hypothetically, let's say if I was really into politics, I didn't even know about that program. So me being able to venture my way into that would look differently and probably be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I imagine every state has it, but yeah, it's a state YMCA program run by the YMCA. So I'm excited, and I agree. I think that it's a great way to expose kids to something, but a lot of kids wouldn't even know it's there. And there's also a cost to the registrations and stuff, which could be a barrier. But if they have the program in their school, there are grants to help cover that.
Okay.
So it'll cover like their 4 or 5 day stay in the hotel and their food and all that other stuff. So I'm excited, and if he really likes it, I'm gonna start pushing forward to be in his school so them grants can come around. Maybe. So anyway, yeah. What about you?
I don't have anything coming up that I can think of other than practicing this new curriculum. But I wanted to ask you, over the course of history, how men have always dominated, and still up until this point, it's about the wealthiest, who has the most power. But relationship seems like it's still horrible. The statistics are still kind of horrible in the idea that is success in it. And I wonder, what do you think men are missing that, and the reason why I say men, because we control the story throughout the course of time. And typically if men know something, they're going to pass some information so it can improve, but relationships haven't. What are men missing that is preventing relationships to become like marketable? Like, I can't wait to find my person when I get older so we can have a family and all of this. It's now the messaging is, like, you're not going to be able to find your person, or it's going to take, you got to jump through hoops and whatever necessary to find it. And this is just something on my mind because of a recent conversation I had with a friend who was looking to start over, already created it and, hit one of these walls. What are we missing?
I think from a woman's perspective, from Kanika's perspective, not from a woman's perspective, I won't even say that. I would say that women have evolved and men have not. I would say that even to this day, you'll have some people talk about a man's role and a woman's role. And the man's role still continues to be work and do whatever, and there's some men who do more, but the expectation is providing. And there's very little discussion about what else a man brings to the table. I think that with women, they were the house managers initially because they couldn't get their own homes. They couldn't get their own bank accounts and things. But as time moved on and women had more of an opportunity to have their own things, women started working more and bringing more into the home. Men continued to think the expectation of what they're supposed to do stayed the same. Nothing changed. And I think that there have been conversations where we talk about how in previous relationships, in previous years, women didn't have to really be fulfilled in their marriage because you really were in a marriage and it was like a business contract. Like, I raise up some kids that look good for you. You take care of me and these kids. There really didn't have to be happiness and fulfillment. And I think that that's also reflected in the lower divorce rates back then. You couldn't, what you gonna divorce and do what? You know what I'm saying? So I think that now women, when we're in a marriage with a man, it's really not just a business transaction. There has to be some level of fulfillment in both ways. And I think that as times have changed and life required two incomes, women have made the money. They've gone to school to improve what they bring to the home. They continue to maintain the children. In some cases with men, there's that shared responsibility of children and household responsibilities. But when you talk to a lot of men, their idea of the household responsibilities they're so small. They don't really think about all of the things that make a home work. So I feel like women have grown and evolved based on the new needs, the ever-changing needs of kids and how to raise them in these in the environment, education, looking at the differences and how to kind of pivot and help support their kids in changing times with education. I feel like women have kind of evolved to assist more in achieving what could be achieved before with one income as the American dream. Women have to chip in. I get all of that. But I don't feel like men, their idea of their contribution has not evolved at all. It's still on the thing where it's a business contract where I provide, and then the women are supposed to add the increase and do all the other things. But now at this point, this relationship is not only about supplying and providing, it's about actually like giving of yourself to make it something you want. Like, I think we've had a conversation before where it was like, there were a lot of times where I could say, I don't need to be married to you. I want to be married to you. I could live in a way that is within the means that I make with my income and we not be together. That's not what I want. And I think that is one of the things that people need to look at now when men are getting into marriages with women. And this is just my opinion. When men are getting into marriages with women, they have to understand that they have to bring more to the table. Like, you have to bring more than your check. And
the women have to know that too.
I agree. But you're asking me about what I think.
No, I'm saying women have to know that men need to bring more to the table.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at this part.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that I think right now, to look at it, to bring it back to what men probably need, I think men need to observe the current look of a relationship, and then they need to learn how to pivot and evolve, because what your granddad did isn't enough for the type of woman that has developed in the type of women that are on the market that you want. Your granddad couldn't pull.
Could not.
And so you come in with the same ideas as your grandfather. What is that really doing? So I feel like the women have evolved and improved. You wouldn't want somebody who was the way your grandmama pulled your granddad. You wouldn't want her. So why do you feel like you don't have to close that gap? Obviously the women have developed further. And I some men, my grandmother, she cooked, she did it. Did she want to?
I know that.
Look, so my thing is when it all comes down to it, you can't expect to have women that have leveled up and what you present to that woman not level up to match her. So that when you said, what do I think about blah with men? That's my response. Now, true enough, I agree. Women, and that's why I say this is Kanika. And when I'm looking at it, this is what I'm thinking. But women have to also think that way, or understand that is an expectation and have people rise to it. However, if a woman sets that expectation, all of a sudden she's difficult. That's why she ain't ever done had a man. That's why just because she wants someone that is comparable, that whole bringing something to the table thing be killing me, because you done put 3 little pieces of wood together to make a table, and then you talking about what am I going to do to dress it? It doesn't even make any sense, sir. You don't even have chairs here. Like, I'm trying to figure out, what am I supposed to be? If I'm bringing everything else, what are you here for? I could set this up on the floor with a tablecloth. I don't need your little raggedy table. Now, I think that if women really, really required of men what they have evolved from, if we're talking about granddad and grandmama, if they required that men to close that gap right now, we might lose a good portion of our population.
I know.
But it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be happening. Like, the gap is getting wider and wider. And what's so crazy is I find that like men will say, you know, well, that's why she's gonna be single. That's why she's gonna be unhappy. But a lot of the single women that I know, like they're happy with how their life is. Having a partner would be great, but they enjoy traveling. They enjoy the home they've created for themselves. They want somebody to share it with, but they also want something that's fulfilling. And I think that it's unfair to do all that you do and to be all you are. And then the caliber of the men that are available to enjoy that life with is so, it's like stunted in growth. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like it bothers me that then women get these men that there is a gap and the women will be like, that's fine, because I can work with that, because we will work with it. But then they have to raise that man. And then sometimes they have to raise or mold or what's the word I want when it's not revision or revise, just like make tweaks. And a man be pushing back so hard. You trying to change me. You trying to, I don't want to. I've never met a woman that tried to help her man become worse. Like a woman will say something like, well, trying to help him maybe go in a different direction with his career or improve, or maybe learn how to talk to his family better so that their relationships are more sound, or even talking to him about how to talk to her so she doesn't feel like she's always attacked in a conversation. And why fight it? Has anybody ever tried to change you to make you worse than who you were? I've never had somebody try to take me down. Be like, Kanika, why don't you think about this? Or will you say this to me? It makes me feel like this. They never say it because they want me to be more of a butthole. They want me to be more of a jerk. It's always like, so what's the pushback? I don't know. However, it's hard for women. It's not hard for women. I'm not going to say that. For some women, it's like, if I'm not going to get what matches me, or at least what makes me feel good when I come home at night, like I'm not going to come home just to say I got pants. This is what my friend says, just to say you got a pair of pants. I'm not going to deal with a bunch of nonsense just to be able to say I got a pair of pants at home. There are women like that, and I can't fault them, because stress is a killer. Stress is one of the number one killers of Black women. However, there are women who they really, really want someone, and they found someone that looks, that has the bare necessities, and they're like, you know what? There's always room for improvement. Let's do this. People grow together in relationships. Let's go grow. And that's cool too. But if that's the case, you're hoping that you're getting a man that wants to grow, not just says he wants to grow, but when it comes down to it, growing is uncomfortable sometimes. So even if they're willing to be with someone who hasn't closed the gap, that grandmama granddaddy gap, they're willing to do it. I mean, it's only so much that anybody should really take in trying to bring someone along. And I feel like a lot of times women are charged with raising the children and raising the husband in a way. I don't think that that's fair.
It isn't. But
But go ahead, because I know I talked a lot. What are your thoughts? What do you think they need?
Before I went on this journey, I thought I knew enough until I reflected and noticed that my father lost his wife. So where was my information coming from? So as I matured, got married, looking around at all men, I noticed that our language is similar. No matter how much money, it was similar the way that we kind of viewed women. The idea of providing, we're going to do this, and we don't consider that our partner is just as capable, if not more qualified, to bring the amount of money to support the family. But even those who did, they were in a mindset like, we're going to be this power couple, we're doing this. But they never talked about the day-to-day raising of the kids
Mm-hmm.
and what that looked like. And I don't think that they just avoided it. I think that it just never came across our mindset how active we needed to be. So when I heard you say that men haven't evolved, they don't know how to evolve. Like, if that's why I said the woman has to know what they want. If a woman accepts this man, she's hoping that he's going to evolve into this person. The woman has to say, no, you have to be able to do this. And the man has to think, like, am I going to do that? Like, if a man knew that there's a whole list of requirements to be a complement in a relationship, they would go mark them off. But not enough people say, hey, we didn't get all the rules. So that's the reason why this is so important to me, because, and what I learned also, you said, some of your lady friends, your girlfriends would rather just be at home and be able to travel and keep that peace. And in my head, before today, I was like, well, they won't ever be able to get to where you and I are because that's their ceiling. And I was like, but if they don't know this is the ceiling, or if they don't know that they could get here, why let somebody else take that piece to go get something that they may not get in a relationship?
Right.
Yeah, no, but in my head, I'm thinking that everybody has the potential to get to where we are. Like, I feel like if men knew how I felt about our relationship, they knew what I did to get here, and it would be more people go do it. They don't know. So women had to evolve because that was the card y'all were dealt.
Right.
So you didn't evolve because the man was doing everything he was supposed to do. The man wasn't doing everything.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying.
You need discomfort. I agree.
Yes. So the man hasn't been in any type of discomfort, like, other than it's too late. Like, oh my God, like, they might lose their family. Like, what could I have done differently? But leading up into that point, they're doing the same thing that men have always done, thinking that I'm providing, I'm coming home, I'm doing this, and not realizing that that's not enough anymore. And
that's wild to think. I'm providing, I'm coming home. Be like, checked off my boxes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you? I mean, you guys wouldn't have all of those boxes if you weren't forced to create those boxes.
But my question is, in all of these years, some of these men have figured it out. And apparently you guys follow a pattern because you see other people doing it. Why aren't you all sharing the wealth of knowledge? The men who are figuring it out, why is that not taking hold?
I don't know too many men that got this information. And when I used to, well, I still do, when I do share it, there's a lot of pushback. Like, I ain't doing all that. Well, you can't be where I am. You can't feel the way that I do, because that's a part of, that's your responsibility to get here. If she doesn't look at you as a safe place or somebody who's willing to take care of this heavy weight, then you're not going to be happy. So the heavy lifting that women carry in majority of relationships.
Right.
And I don't know any man that's doing as much work as a woman together, unless the woman is sick. But outside of that, the woman is doing majority of the work, but the man don't know it. Because like, most men want to win in every aspect, like they're doing it. If their woman can't make them feel like I feel like there was a time where, like, somebody could say something about me and you'd be like, that's about right. Like, as far as the sum up of a man. But now I feel like I don't fit in a lot of the boxes I used to fit in. If men knew that, they would get out of that. They would start checking boxes off. So you said, why don't we? Because we weren't vulnerable enough to share information of what we don't know. We're more so talking about what we do know. And if you have ego and pride to think you're doing what other men have done and you're in a better position than your parent, that's all the ego and pride. I'm doing way better. So the bar is still low. So who you sharing information with if you feel like you're already doing good? Like, you're not talking about the bad things. So everybody doing the bad things and don't even know it. So in my mind, hopefully this is one of those things that can cause men to want to do more. And I feel like if men want to do more, relationships would definitely change. They just got to know what they're doing. So what do men have to do to evolve?
I think men should come together and make that decision, because I think that at some point women don't want to be the ones to tell women what we need to be doing and tell the men what they need to be doing.
We're not asking you that. We're asked, like, so check this out. There are a lot of things that I learned that I couldn't have learned if you didn't say it. So the idea that you think that you can't share information because you feel like you're raising us,
No, I feel like women do share, but a lot of times there's the pushback. I think that there are two problems. Number one, I think men are stubborn. And I think there are also the opportunity for men to be with younger women who aren't in that space where they could say that they require something, where they're able to kind of raise these women up. Those expectations aren't set. It continues to fuel that continued behavior. I don't think men at our age, dating women at our age, find so much more resistance and expectation. And so then they date down in age, not in quality or caliber of the woman, but in age, because the expectation is weaker. It's not as developed as women at their level. And so they date with women who are younger so that they can maintain that idea that what they're doing is enough. And then they essentially raise up these younger women they're dating to have these continued expectations. So there's also going to be the conflict between women. There are going to be women that say, hey, y'all need to be requiring more. Y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that. But we got these young women that they just want men with money. That's all granddad did. So then that continues to feed into that idea that men don't have to be complete partners. So we're fighting two things. We're fighting the younger women that got caught early. The men got to them before we could get to them to teach them. And then we're sitting here. So we're caught between the idea of trying to teach these women before these other men catch them and raise them up the way they want. And then
they fail that too, though, later. Like the woman realizes that's not what they want.
Well, I mean, I think that as life changes and they change, then their expectations will change. But what they're going to learn, those younger women are going to learn, is that they're caught in the same cycle too. Their men of their generation will not have evolved for them either. So life will get them to the point where all of these things aren't going to be important anymore. But then the guys from their generation that they're going to be looking at to say, okay, I'm ready for this. Those guys are still running through the same cycle that we're fighting y'all about. So I think that it's hard because we're trying to catch those women to teach them, but we're also meeting resistance with the men our age, trying to help them to evolve to this point also, to get to this point also. And I'm not saying that women have all of the answers. I'm not saying that.
And so my question to you wasn't to get answers. It was to give men more options to know that it's ways to improve a relationship from y'all perspective. To me, I was doing, before I went on this journey, I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. There was nothing that anybody could say, not even you. To me, I was like, I'm willing to do half and half, but I didn't know what that really looked like. I just knew what I was willing to do. But looking now, like, we have to have these conversations because you can't expect me to know that there's something that needs to be done that I've never even considered. You know what I'm saying? So like before, when you used to ask me to do things, it used to bother me because I was like, you can do it. But like, I've not put into consideration all the other things that you're doing. You're asking me to do this probably because I can do it. And you notice that I'm over here not doing anything.
Having a good time. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, if you don't know that these job responsibilities are really yours, she's just asking you, like, you should have already done it, but you didn't know to do it. Because if you did know to do it, you probably would have done it. But you don't know that you're supposed to do this. But when she asks, it's like, why can't you do it?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So like, we don't know that. And
well, that's why one of the things I said was men need to learn to observe.
But I mean, like, you could observe to the point where she's ready to leave.
I agree. No, but I didn't just say observe. I said they needed to observe and then they needed to pivot and evolve to meet where the current is.
It's a different kind of man.
It is, but I mean, we had to turn into different types of women
over loads of years.
So piece by piece. Why wouldn't I expect the same thing of the person who's supposed to lead us?
Because we want people now to be happy. Like we're waiting another 34 years for men to evolve. It's gonna create resentment in women and believe like this ain't even true. Like they don't exist. This is pointless. And like who's gonna be the one? Like that's what I say. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to hear what we could give men. Because I don't know what I could say. Like, I know that a lot of times when I write or put out a video, it's almost like I'm a pro woman advocate. Like I'm dogging all men out. Like I don't, and it's not that. But I'm saying they've taken it as that.
Well, I think one of the things is having expectations because you love somebody doesn't make you a hater of that person. I think some people would be like, you're bashing men because you have expectations of them or you want them to grow or evolve. That's not bashing. That's like, I love you and I want more for you and I want better for you. But, you know, when you are a part of, or if you are used to the type of people that you're talking about and you don't see anything wrong with it because that's your everyday norm, it feels like an attack. But it's not. It's just, I love you and I want more for you and I want better for you. And I would challenge men to write down what it is they want in their woman and then write down what their grandmama was. And then I want them to ask themselves, can they granddaddy pull the woman that they want? Because I guarantee the woman that they want has way more bullet points than their grandma.
And your grandfather.
Yes. And then you ask yourself, can my granddad pull this woman? If he couldn't, then that means you with that same idea and those same things that you're bringing to this table, it's not going to yield you anything. It doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't.
So it's not to say that men are horrible or talk bad about them. It's just saying, I know you have the potential and the ability. You just have to number one, be honest with yourself and say, I should be doing more than what granddaddy did. I should be more than that. He didn't do all this because he wanted me to just be him. Like, we want every generation to be better than us in all ways. But like, you should want to be more. And not just more in making money, not just more in, you should want to be more as a complete person. And if you want a woman that's far more faceted than your grandmother, and I love the granny. But if you want a woman that has far more going on than your granny did, then you're going to have to come with more than what granddaddy came with. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, but I know you don't. It may come across like you're being harsh on men, but I think that we're harder on our kids than we are on somebody else's. Why? Because we love them. We have expectations. We know their potential and we want them to be better.
So you telling me I'm calling men my kids?
No. Your sons. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you love someone.
For sure.
When you want more for them, you're going to be more harsh with them than you are with somebody else that you don't have that love for. And it doesn't have to be that you know them personally. These are your friends and you're rough with your friends. I love Black women. So my expectations of Black women are different than my expectations of other women. And it's not because I don't care about other women. It's because I love Black women so much because it feels like my extended family. Anybody I see. And so my expectations of them and my wants for them, it's always going to be a level up from any other group. I don't wish them bad. I don't want bad for them, but I just want the best for my sisters. And I want the best for my brothers too. So I know that people probably think you're rough, but ask his wife. he talks rough. He loves you. I don't know. It's not. Sometimes the tone can be very, very. These are my expectations, and y'all should be doing this, and y'all should be doing that. But it's not out of hate. It's out of like the want to push you to do more. I've always tried to tell John, you know, talking to people like that, it doesn't motivate. Sometimes it closes them off. But I'm also telling John, people have to learn how to get the message rather than focus so much on the messenger. So sometimes your words may be rough, sometimes they could be very loving, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just that you want better and more. You're not doing it so women can have more. You're doing it so men can be better, so men can have more. Because I guarantee you this, when men give more to women, women automatically add an increase to whatever they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they, like, whatever you give, trust it will multiply with her. So don't think that you're going to give more of yourself and you're going to lose out somehow. It's going to multiply some other way for you through her. That's, I believe that.
Absolutely.
I was trying to think of if
No.
have I grown or
Like, I know, like, and all the things that you've introduced to me was stuff that I didn't want to do. It was pushed back in the beginning. Over the course of time, I just kind of just let you do what you do. It was more so the mindset, like she's trying to change me, but it was like it wasn't for the worse.
Yeah.
It was to broaden my horizons as far as a man and to look the part. And I just didn't understand that then. But looking back, I can say, yeah. But if somebody would have said, hey, your lady is going to introduce new things to you, be open to it. She's not trying to get you to lose. She's trying to bring stuff to you. And I'd be like, oh, this must be one of those moments. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know, you'd be like, oh, she trying to change me. You definitely heard that message before.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's easy to just be like, oh, she's doing it. No, not up in here.
Exactly. Right. But, you know, we just want the best for everybody.
Absolutely. Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
No.
I want to give a shout out to any and everybody who's working on a relationship to show growth and to say why they're supposed to be together. You know, like a lot of times the messages we get aren't the best messages, but we want this result to look like something that we haven't seen before. Maybe you're the one that's supposed to put the work in to show other people what it's supposed to look like. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.